Hey, we're live again. Yeah. How's it going, everyone? My name is Jose Trujillo, and I am the world's greatest living artist. The art world chose me. The art gods. The art gods. I've been super busy right now, guys. Moving my je ne sais quoi to my new art studio. Hi, Carol. Hi, Gratefully Vintage. Moving my new stuff to my art studio. It's been a hell of a ride, especially when my help bails on me. I feel like Captain Jack Sparrow by myself on the Black Pearl. I feel alone. Oh man. But it's okay. It's okay. I can make it happen. I can do it. Just a little bit of rum. No, I don't drink. Hardly. But you know what, guys? I wanted to tell you guys this. Look, when I go into a new space, I always remember this. Okay, when I go into a new space, like a new platform, a new something, I always remember this. Whether I have help or I'm doing it by myself, it's not going to happen overnight. Okay? It's not going to happen overnight. Here's something to remember. Because many of us don't do stuff because we're like, oh man, it's going to take forever. No, it won't. It won't take forever. Will it go faster if you had people helping you? Of course. If you had staff and of course it would go faster. If you had well-trained staff, highly committed, of course. But it's a catch-22 sometimes. Okay? Sometimes it's a catch-22. Thinking that because you're alone you can't do it, or thinking that because you have people you can. It's a bit of a catch-22. I personally believe that if you have staff, all it means is that you're growing more. Okay? It can mean that, actually. It doesn't always mean that. I've met some businesses that they have staff and they're not growing more because they're complacent, right? They got to a flat line. They're just trying to repeat what happened last month. And that's a problem. It's always a problem. So what I've come to realize is that it's easy to get lost in thinking that, oh man, I don't have people, so therefore I can't do it. It's not true. Okay? Although you've heard me talk about get people, it's not true that you can't do it. Chances are your time is being played with. Okay? Chances are your time is being played with. Time goes by, unlike Madonna's song says, so slowly. It really doesn't. Time goes by very fast. It's slow for some stuff, and it's very fast for others. It's slow for the long term. You know, oh my God, when is next year gonna come? And it's very fast with the small increments. Right? You could spend an hour watching Netflix like that. It'll feel like a blink of an eye. Time is one of those things. It goes so fast. And I've talked about this idea of time because I've been getting coached by pros. And, you know, was I telling you guys? Yeah, I was telling you guys yesterday. One of the pros that I'm trying to get coached right now by charges $1,000 an hour. Okay, just to put in perspective, I know I'm charging $150 an hour, but this guy's charging me $1,000 an hour, and it's like it's painful, right? Because it's like but I know that the shit I'm learning from this guy is like it's real, you know. It's like serious stuff for where I'm at, for how I'm running the business. So it's you know. Anyways, that's a whole other thing, but it's funny, right? Because it's like, oh man, it's $1,000 an hour. It's like you're twisting my arm. I told my wife, and my wife is like, you're crazy. But she understands. She's just, like everything else. In the beginning, it feels like, whoa, what are you talking about? But I do get coached, and this is something new I'm going into right now with this new coach, and we'll see. We'll see. I know. Once you get into like more serious stuff, you start realizing that you need more serious training. So, anyways, what was I telling you guys? Oh yeah, I was telling you guys about time. This I learned from a sales coach about time. About I've talked to you guys about pockets of time, right? Breaking down your day in pockets of time, very small increments, very small pockets. Because when you're alone, when you work at this whole thing alone, if you're an artist and you're working at it alone, what happens is that you get tempted into thinking, which is not wrong, by the way, but you can get tempted into thinking something wrong about it. You get tempted into thinking, if I had more people, I would get more done, right? It's true and it isn't. Okay, let me explain why. It's true and it isn't. When you're working by yourself, and if you're not trained, if you're not disciplined to squeeze every fucking second out of an hour, if you're not trained or disciplined to squeeze everything, what happens is that your day is hit or miss. And if you're having sales like this, I've talked about this before, it's okay to have this as long as it's trending up, right? But if your sales are like this in a flat line, if you're having peaks and valleys, there is a very big chance, if you're having nice peaks and very low valleys, there's a very big chance that you're not disciplining your time. Your time isn't, you haven't mastered to discipline your time. This used to happen to me a lot. It still happens to me. I still have peaks and valleys. I don't think they ever go away. But what you want to do is you want them to go up, right? You want them trending up. If you have peaks and valleys that are in a flat line, okay? What I mean by peaks and valleys is that yesterday you sold, I don't know, $500, and today you sold $40. That's what I mean. If you have that happening, your time may be undisciplined. That's the very first thing I would look at. If you spend one day being on it, right? Like you're working very hard and you're squeezing every second of the day, and then the next day you are in an argument with a friend or your partner, and that kind of drains you, and then you spend too much time priming your canvases or too much time learning something new on YouTube. By the way, there's not much you can learn on YouTube. You got to pay someone. I'm just throwing it out there. I played that game before. YouTube doesn't really teach you. The how-tos on YouTube are ridiculous. Like you need to get with someone who's actually knows what they're doing and is going to sit next to you and look over your shoulder. And those people always charge, not usually, always charge for their skill set, their expertise. Anyways, that's another line. That's for another video. But if you're having that, if that's happening in your art career or business, there's a very good chance, okay, that your discipline, you're messing with your discipline. Okay, you're messing with your discipline, because that's what creates the peaks and the valleys, guys. It's usually the discipline. In the beginning, we think it's I don't know. It's everything under the sun. We think, oh, it's because I painted this and it sold very well, or it's because I went to this gallery show and then that gallery show always works well. Well, now you need to reverse engineer. Why did you go to that gallery show? How did you get it? What were you doing? What were you doing the month prior to getting that gallery show? How many places did you visit? Like, you got to reverse engineer the shit out of it, right? In order to find out what made you win. What made you win? What platform are you selling artwork? What were you doing? What were you doing to get traffic there? And what did see, if you don't log your day, this is something that I learned. These are some high-end tips. If you don't log your behavior, it's always going to be hit or miss. This took me years to understand. especially because I do a lot of eBay. And when I started doing eBay, I didn't log my behavior. I thought I did. I logged like how many paintings I created and how many people I talked to sometimes, but it was very flimsy. So I had a lot of peaks and valleys, very painful peaks and valleys on eBay. They're very painful because a lot of it is auctions. So some stuff just you gave it away, and some stuff you did, And so it's a very painful, very very harsh environment. It's a very very hard environment. And if you don't know what you're doing, you experience a lot of pain. At least in other places where you're not auctioning, you don't experience that type of pain. You experience a different type of pain, the type of pain that is just dusty, and the paintings just gather dust and nothing happens. That's a different type of pain. Pain as opposed to, oh man, I sold it for $5 or $1. That's a very different type of pain. And it also has to do because you're relying on that. It's a horrible way to run business, relying on a single thing. But getting back to this whole thing of time, guys, it has to do with discipline, okay? It took me a while to understand, to log my behavior. And it took me even longer to actually apply myself to doing it. Because, logging your behavior makes sense. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to log my behavior. But making a muscle out of it, it takes balls, guys. It takes a lot of cojones to make a muscle out of your behavior. Like saying, okay, well, today I did 30 minutes of marketing. And then I did video tutorial, and then I talked to 20 people about my artwork, and then on and on. Once you start logging that, right? You start seeing the trend. You start seeing the trend. You start seeing, oh man, I sold a painting. Well, what did I do that week, or what did I do that month? You start seeing the trend, and then that's how you start dialing in. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It's like everything else, no? It's like everything else. People that exercise, they log their behavior. They're like, today's leg day, right? And then this is what I had for, this is how many, I don't know, how much protein, how much this, how much, carbs, and on and on and on, how much sugar, and they log their behavior. That's it's not just, by the way, I'm going to take that back. It's not just, but that's to take care of their body, right? To exercise and look trim and whatnot. People that exercise, there's a lot of people on Instagram that do that. Now think about applying the same energy to selling your artwork. It's the same thing, guys. You have to monitor the whole thing. You have to monitor it. This is why a lot of people are like, man, this is too hard. This is not going to work, or this is that. It's not that. It's just that you need a lot of attention in the game. There needs to a lot of fucking attention. It's to go a lot of attention into the game. And if you don't place the sufficient amount of attention, it's going to be hit or miss. It's going to be, some days you did good, some days you did horrible, and you're scratching your head and you can't put your finger on it. Of course you can't put your finger on it. There is no data to support it. There is no data. You didn't create data to support it. If I eat McDonald's one day, binge watch Netflix for 3 hours, and then the next day, I go for a, 30-minute walk, right? And then I eat some protein, and then I watch 2 hours of TV instead of 3. And then the next day, I do something similar. And then the next day, I go bananas, and I exercise like crazy for 2 hours in the gym. And then I eat really well, and then I drink a lot of water. But the next day I repeat my messed up day, and you don't log that, you're gonna have a swing. You're gonna have a swing. I don't know shit about exercise, by the way. I'm just using a crazy example. But I'm making a comparison to having an art business. You're gonna have a swing. You're not gonna know what's happening. You're gonna be all confused and shit, right? You'll be like, oh man, I sold a commission, but you're not gonna know what made it sell. You're just see, everything that you come up with in your mind is usually lies. Like you're like, oh my god, I worked so much this week. If it's not logged, how many hours you actually worked, how much time you actually dedicated to marketing, how much time you actually dedicated to painting, and on and on and on. If it's not logged, you're messing with your mind. Like your mind's messing with you. It's the other way around. Your mind's messing with you. It's the same thing that when people ask me when I went on a diet or I try to exercise, and people ask me, my family members, they'd be like, how's the diet going? Oh man, it's not working, man. I mean, oh man, I'm not eating anything, and I'm like, I'm starving, and I'm working out. I've been working out for the past 6 months and no change. Well, I mean, I know it's a touchy subject and all, right? But it ain't working because it ain't working, right? It ain't working because I haven't been working. I haven't logged it. I haven't kept my eye on that fucking ball, right? I haven't looked at it like a hawk and paid attention to it like a Zen master, looking at it and logging it and saying, okay, from 5 in the morning to 7 in the morning, this is what I did, you know? From 7 in the morning, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., this is what I did. And on and on and on. This is a high-end tip again, guys. I've been sharing with you guys this whole week this tip because I believe it's extremely important. If you're an artist and you're shooting from the hip, it's not gonna work like that forever, guys. You might get lucky, and you might do something, a little strategy that may be working, but you can't continue to shoot from the hip all the time. It's not sustainable because it'll give you results some days, and some days it won't. You know, it'll play with your results. It'll go up and down. It's not a sustainable strategy. It's not going to work. You know, this is why I when I'm coaching artists, I ask them, artists that want to go into galleries, I ask them right away, how many galleries is it going to take for you to make X amount? Because we break it down to X amount of dollars, right? How much do you get in a gallery show? Okay, well, how many gallery shows do we need? How many people do we need to talk per gallery to get to land a gallery show, right? And on and on and on. And how many galleries did you visit? Did you contact? Did you touch today? Right? Because it has to be a set amount, and it has to be repetitive, and it has to be like a drop of water, right? Every single day. Now it's easy. Again, I'm going to take it back to where I started this talk. It's easy to think, well, if I had 10 people helping me, right, it would be 10 times faster. Yes and no. Because you could have people helping you, but if you're not disciplined, this has happened to me before. I wasn't disciplined enough, and I had 4 people helping me. If you're not disciplined, everybody is just sort of fucking around, right? Because you're the captain, and everybody's like, oh, okay, well, whatever you do, whatever you tell us. But if you're not disciplined with your tasks, neither will they be. They're just kind of following along with you. This is why I believe that small businesses hit walls. You know, this is why I believe that individuals change the world. Not necessarily groups of people, or I believe single individuals change the world. Do people help them? Of course. Of course, they couldn't do it themselves. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg, right? But if it wasn't for their high levels of discipline, it could not happen. You know, you wouldn't have You wouldn't have Jeff Bezos. You wouldn't have what's it called? Amazon without Jeff Bezos. Period. You could not have Amazon without Jeff Bezos. You can have Amazon after Jeff Bezos, right? You could have a CEO, by the way. I think they do have one. You can have COOs, CEOs, and on and on and on. You now place people, right, under that structure, the structure. But there would never be an Amazon. It would be something else. There would never be an Amazon without first being a Jeff Bezos, an extremely focused individual. They couldn't have it. Period. It doesn't happen. There is no, Apple without Steve Jobs, and on and on. It's the same way. And if you're an artist, and I've talked a lot about getting help, if you are looking to get help without first being disciplined, you may be running into a thing there. I've heard mentors talk about hire, go hire more people, and on, and I'm all about that. But I do believe I made that mistake in the beginning, where I went to hire before I was ready. And now I feel like I'm ready, right? Now I know I'm ready. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. But before, I was like, oh man, if I just get someone to package my work, my artwork, if I just get someone, and what I started realizing was that I wasn't really advancing much more either. They just kind of showed up, and because it's tied to you. It's tied to you. If you have an undisciplined day, week, month, year, it doesn't matter if 2, 3, 5 people are helping you. It's going to feel the same way. It's going to be like you're not really advancing. You're advancing very slow. I think that when it makes a difference, even if you are kind of undisciplined, is when you have a bunch of people. But if you have a bunch of people, that means you're paying a shitload of money, right, every month. I think you can get away with being a bit indisciplined. I don't even believe what I'm saying. I don't even think that you can get away with being indisciplined. Maybe in certain industries, I don't know. But this is one of the things that I started learning. Man, I need to discipline myself. I need to become extremely disciplined. I need to log my time. I need to figure out every day. I need to look at the data. Because otherwise my mind is gonna mess with me. I'm gonna say I worked a lot and very little sales, and then it's gonna mess with my mind, right? But if I pay attention, okay, what did I sold? How many pieces did I sell? How many people did I talk to? What hours, right? What hours were the sales happening? And on and on and on. Then my mind's not gonna mess with me. I have hard data. Right? I have hard data that I can look at. By the way, I look at this stuff every single day. Every single day I look at it. And then with fresh eyes, I bring my wife over and we look at it once a week. We look at the whole data. It only takes a few minutes. We look at the whole data. Okay, what happened this week? This is a game changer, guys. Okay? This is a game changer. If you're having a hard time with, oh man, I placed a Facebook ad. Yeah, this is what happens when you tell an artist, hey, place Facebook ads in order to start getting more views, right? This is what happens. They start saying, oh man, I've done that before. It didn't work. This is what starts happening. They start talking like that. Oh man, I've done that before. It didn't work. I'm not going to do Facebook ads. When I hear I've done that before, it didn't work, I tried that, I already know, 1, they didn't commit to it. 2, they didn't do it for enough period of time. And 3, they didn't check the data. You need to check the data. You need to check what's happening. If I'm spending $5-10 a day on Facebook ads, I need to check the data. I need to be looking at it like a hawk. I need to be looking at it. What's happening? Every single day I'm looking at it. How many impressions? How many people clicked? What did I do? Right? And on and on. It's the same thing with art galleries. When people are like, oh man, I tried the gallery thing, it doesn't work. It's the same thing. I already know. I already know what that means. Because I said that myself. You know, I already know what that means. What it means is I didn't commit to it. I didn't do it for enough time, right? For long periods of time, because nothing works unless you do. It's like saying, I tried exercise. It didn't do anything. Really? Yeah. I mean, I did it like crazy for a whole week. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I went running every day for 1 hour for a whole week. Nothing happened. Well, of course not, right? Of course not. It's the same thing. But if you do it for long periods of time, you start getting data. You start looking at data. You start, oh, okay. You start realizing, well, I don't have to go run for 3 hours a day. I could just run for 30 minutes every day. And, and check out, this and that and whatever, right? You start paying attention. It's the same way with the artwork. It's the same way with the artwork. Okay, well, I don't have to maybe paint like crazy. Maybe I don't have to, I don't know, maybe I don't have to do A, B, and C. I can do B less and more of C, right? Or I don't even have to do C. All I have to do is A and B. C is not working at all. Drop C. But it's only when you start looking at your day, your discipline. That's only when things start making sense. So anyways, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope that you guys got some value out of this talk. If you did, pass it on, share it with another artist. I don't know. Let someone else know about it. They're going to find out, guys. Okay? This is not a secret. They're going to find out. It's just going to take them a long time, or they're going to hear it from me, because I'm telling this to every artist. They're going to hear it from me, or they're going to hear it from someone who heard it from me. All right, guys. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.